This is Biff from Saxon. You listen to Sonic Perspectives. Come on!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and I'm speaking with Metal Royalty today. BIFF BYFORD is here with us, and we'll talk about the new album of Saxon, Hellfire and Damnation. Biff, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great. It's good to be there, talking about a new album like that. So that's great.
Yeah. Well, before we go into the details of the new album, I want to wish you a belated happy birthday. I know you turned 73 recently, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 73 going on 21, yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff. Well, speaking of the new album, I absolutely love the evil tones of the cover. I mean, I don't remember you guys having such a dark cover. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, because we wrote the song Hellfire Damnation. It's about the fight between good and evil based on the prophecy, like the omen type thing, the Antichrist coming and all the rest of that story that's in the Bible. It's basically a song about the battle between good and evil. So I wanted an album cover that sort of, went there really. And I gave the record company a few ideas that I had of how it may look. They sent it out to a few different artists. This one came back really quick, within like 3 days, and I really loved it. Really loved it immediately. So we didn't really have to change much at all, really. That's the artwork we got back. So it was just magical, really, that everything fell together with the album. The music came together really great, and the cover fits the title.
Yeah.
So it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of,
looks great on a T-shirt.
Yes.
I've seen one.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah. And well, speaking of a quick turnaround, I mean, it seems like only yesterday they finished the Carpe Diem tour. I guess the last date was like early December, right?
Yeah, we were writing the album, this album in the summer, between the festivals. We didn't actually finish. I didn't finish the vocals until the 15th of October last year, which is not that long ago.
Yeah.
We were working pretty smoothly. We'd play 3 festivals in Europe, and then we'd go back to this hotel cinema that we rented in Germany, and that was our base. So we write and rehearse there, and record the drums and bass there. So it was quite. We did it quite quickly. Actually, it came together pretty quickly in the end. So it was a bit of a magical moment, really. I didn't even realize that. I went into my kitchen, had a studio at home, went into the kitchen and said to my wife, I think I finished the album. And she was like, what? I was like, well, I think we've actually finished the album. But, it was a weird moment because I didn't think I'd finished, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I thought there was more to do, but there wasn't. So it was great, really.
Awesome. And well, 24 albums in, I feel like you're yet to release your best album because you keep outdoing yourselves at every release. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's my feeling anyway.
Yeah, I'm really always I'm always looking for the perfect song, the perfect album. I don't think we're ever going to achieve it, mind you, but I think this one is pretty close to being, up there with some of our best albums we've done. I think sometimes when you're making albums like this, they just have this life of their own sometimes, and the thing takes over. And I'm singing the lyrics I've written, 20 minutes before, and it's all going really smooth. I think a lot of bands who've had, albums that were special will say that. I've heard other songwriters say that, that sometimes you're in a bit of a state of grace. Things go really smoothly. There's no writer block. There's no, the guitarist playing fantastic. There's no overdubs. There's no loops. just one fantastic rhythm track each on the album, one right, one left, and that's the power of the song. Really, is how it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this time around we have Brian Tatler from Diamond Head on guitar. What was the process to select him? I mean, he seems such a perfect choice for this role.
Well, we didn't really have anybody else in mind, to tell you the truth. And the thing is, a lot of people were really surprised. It's a bit of a no-brainer, really, because there really aren't any other guitarists that could, step in for Paul that have the legacy and the respect of, loads of people, really. Fans of rock music know who he is, really. I mean, it's one of those weird things, Paul got COVID like a year ago. We were doing a run of festivals that we couldn't really not do. So we asked Brian if he'd learn the songs. So he learned quite a lot of saxophone songs with Paul, on Zoom. So it was like, when Paul decided to retire, he was the first guy we asked, really. Mm-hmm. And we said, it's possible to be in two bands at once.
Yeah.
So do you wanna join Saxon? And he was like, yeah.
Awesome.
I would do, because, he loves the band. We're from the same era. He's a great guitarist. You're never going to replace Paul because he's a fantastic guitarist, Paul. But, Brian brings his own style to the band now. And, he co-wrote Hellfire Damnation with me, the song, and Madame Guillotine, the second song. Mm-hmm. Doug and Niv wrote, the rest of the album with me. So, he's become part of the writing team. But it wasn't really planned, if you know what I mean. It just dropped into place. I don't know what happened, really.
Yeah.
The gods of rock smiling down on us.
Yeah. And I think his style is very apparent on the new album, on his riff, like you said. And I mean, the twin guitar harmonies are a little bit more apparent here than in recent albums. The guitars are crispier. I don't know if it's him or Andy Sneap's production or a combination of the two.
Well, I think Doug played a lot of the rhythms on some of the stuff, but I think together they play really well together. I think some of the guitar solos, and like you said, the twin guitar parts are really cool. And, they did that together. Brian went down to Doug's house and they jammed a few things together and worked some stuff out. And then they both came to my studio and worked together. So, I mean, they do work really well together. They're different styles, like Paul and Doug were. Brian and Doug are slightly different styles. Doug's a more modern style player, and Brian's more old school player. And that was the same with Paul and Doug. So I think that dynamic is still there.
Yeah.
But the guitar playing on the album is superb. I think it's some of the best guitar playing that they've actually done. So it really, really, really sounds fantastic. And like I say, one of those special moments. I think, Brian came in and clicked with Doug straight away, and from that came their performance on the album.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let me ask you about Pirates of the Airways, which is a cool homage to the radio stations of the 60s, the pirate radios. Yeah, it reminded me of the movie The Boat That Rocked. I'm not sure if you watched it, but it addresses the same subject.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I watched it because I was around it, in the 60s when, when that was happening, 63, 64. I was like a, young lad, really. The BBC in England wouldn't play any rock music on the radio. So these pirate stations set up outside of the exclusion zone of the UK, and they were able to broadcast in. But, the people were trying to stop them all the time. They were like jamming the airwaves and trying to sink the boat and all sorts of things. And, we had these little Japanese radios, like the size of a biscuit. We'd be tuning in to like these stations and listening to all the big hits of the day, really, because, the BBC stopped broadcasting at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it was a bit boring, really. So we were listening for all the modern music at the time.
Yeah. Must have been an awesome time to be alive. I was born in 74, so I couldn't catch that era, but yeah, I did listen to radio a lot growing up. But yeah.
Yeah, well, radio was the main media at that time.
Yeah.
It was going supreme. And actually, the BBC had to give younger people their own station, which turned out to be a station called Radio 1. And what they did is they employed all the DJs that worked on the pirate radio station. So all these people, these DJs became superstars overnight,
Right, right. And this week you released a video for There's Something in Roswell, another highlight of the album. I must say your voice sounds great on this track, particularly on the high-pitched scream at the end. Are you planning to do that scream live or not?
Well, I'm like all live singers. You're always planning to do them.
Right. Whether you pull it off is a different story. Yeah.
It's not a sample we use, So yeah, I mean, I'll go for it. If it comes out, then it comes out.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 it works, but there's always one time when it sounds like you're being strangled or something. It turns into like something like a cat rather than a rock and roll scream. But yeah, I always try and go for them. It's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes what your voice can do in a studio, because you're more relaxed, and obviously you've got more time to prepare for it. When the song's playing live, if the voice is playing the song a bit faster, or a bit more excited, it's sometimes quite hard to control your voice. But most of the time, I'll do the high screams live. Yeah.
Right. Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do hear a nod to Motorhead on Fire and Steel. Am I right in saying that, or?
Well, it's a nod to the early 80s albums that we made. Don't forget the first tour we ever did was with Motorhead in 1979.
Yeah.
So we were very influenced by Motorhead, their sort of flashy rock and roll style. And we wrote quite a few songs on those first albums, Wheels of Steel, Strong and Below, and Flashy. So it's a bit of a homage to that time, and definitely to Motorhead. Yeah, Motorhead could definitely. If Lemmy was alive, he would love that track.
Yeah, yeah.
I would definitely have sang that with me.
Yeah, and I mean, judging by the timeline, you're starting a tour in a few weeks. I guess you're doing pre-production right now. Am I right in saying that, or?
No, we don't bother much with pre-production. We don't. Like I said, we don't have a lot of. We don't have any sound reinforcement. We don't have any computers or click tracks running. So only thing we need to do really is just rehearse the songs. So we won't really start rehearsing until maybe 2 or 3 days before the first show.
Okay.
We don't. We like things to be spontaneous. So I think if you rehearse for like weeks and weeks, I think it tends to make it a little bit, sterile.
Right.
So we like to keep it raw.
Right. And what's your process to put together a set list these days? I mean, a lot of people think the latest albums are so strong that you should do just a tour with the songs from the last 10 or 20 years.
Well, the thing is, it's difficult with set lists because when a group of people get in a room, they may say they want to hear a song we've never played before, but actually, they want to hear Denim and Leather, and they want to hear Crusader and Princess of the Night. So, you can't please everybody. I mean, we will be playing 6 or 7 new songs on the tour. So we will be playing quite a bit of new music on tour. So, but we have to play the classics as well.
Yeah.
And we'll probably play something from Carpe Diem, something from Thunderbolt, something from Battering Ram. We'll mix it up a bit. So we've got some deep cuts in there. But we are touring on the new album, so the new music will be the focus for the tour. Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of audience is at your shows these days? Do you see a renewal in the fan base, or is it like middle-aged guys like me, for example?
Well, it's really mixed. We're very lucky. We have a really wide section of ages at our shows. you've got a massive resurgence of the British metal thing for the last 5, 6 years. So you get a lot of younger guys, coming in the denim and leather, the battle jackets, So yeah, we're very lucky. I mean, we've got people who are still with us from the 80s, and we have people that maybe get into us on this album. So it's a great place to be, really, actually, at the moment. With this, people listening to our music and new fans coming along and checking out our old catalogue. So, once you get into a band like Saxon, you can go back through their music, can't you? There's 45 years of music there, so it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're playing British classic metal. There's a huge interest in that still around the world,
Awesome. And one constant thing that I noticed, at least in the last string of albums, is the variety of themes. Just on the 3 albums alone, we had a song about Nosferatu, a homage to Motorhead, a song for those who died of COVID, the Ballad of Hastings, a lot of different themes. And it's occurred to me that you never did a concept album. Did you guys ever think about that, or you want to keep the variety, keep things fresh, or?
Well, the thing is, because our a concept album is considered to be more prog than sort of classic rock. So our favorite prog bands from the back in the day were people like Yes, Genesis, King Crimson.
Yeah.
And I think to do an album like they did, that's the sort of concept album we'd like to do. I mean, sometimes people just do a bunch of songs and connect them all with keyboards or guitarists, and then they say a concept album or prog. I think, this album is basically about good and evil. There is a theme that flows through the album. So we could do in future, we could do a concept album, but it has to be a big concept.
Right.
It would have to be something that could sustain, 10, 12 songs.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, and you strike me as someone who's always writing, regardless of being in a writing mode for a new album or not. Am I right in saying that, or?
Well, I like pressure. I like to work under pressure. I like to, leave things mulling around in my head until the last minute, until I can sort of, know where I'm going in my mind. But sometimes you just start writing words and they go somewhere else, So, I just think keeping it free really is not, I'm always writing, even if I'm sat watching TV, something might crop up, or I might see something, or some idea might pop into my head. So I'm always jotting ideas down, either in my book or in my diary or on my phone. So I'm constantly writing all the time. I've done it for so long, I can't stop it.
Good stuff. Yeah. And you did a solo album a few years ago, School of Hard Knocks. Are you considering a follow-up to that, or did that quench your thirst for a solo album? Or?
Well, people are asking me to do a solo album. And I've got a lot of friends, who want to play on a solo album with me. So yeah, I don't think I'll have time this year, definitely, to do anything.
Right.
If you look at our touring schedule, it's massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's in the pipeline, but not. It's only at the beginning of the pipe.
Fair enough.
Not the end of it.
Fair enough. Yeah. And you mentioned that you're in a high point in terms of interest from the fans. It's great to be a metal band at this point, but you've been through a lot of hardships in your career, particularly in the 90s when no one seemed to care about metal anymore. Yeah.
Well, I think you were left down with the hardcore fans. I think.
Yeah.
That stayed loyal to you. Some people went off and listened to other styles of music, but I tend to find they've all come back again now.
Yeah.
Over the last 5, 6 years, maybe there's 10 years actually. So they just went off and checked out some new things. We were able to carry on because we had such a great hardcore following, that kept us alive.
Yeah.
But I like all the bands that came through the 90s, I think we came through a better band, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think, we lost all that that sort of, that pomp and circumstance that there was around in that sort of late 80s. We sort of went back to being a working class metal band again, which was brilliant, really. So, we looked at where we were and what we were doing and what we wanted our future to be, and we made some changes and went from there, really. So it was a great. It wasn't a great time, popularity wise or financially wise, but it taught us a lot that period.
Right. Well, and at one point you did a reality show on TV called Get Your Act Together with Harvey Goldsmith. What was that like?
Well, it was a bit purgatory. We wanted to make a mark in the UK again because we slipped quite badly in the UK, in the press and the media, and we were always playing shows in the UK, but we weren't doing the long tours that we used to do. Mm-hmm. So I think we just thought it was an idea to bring the profile up, but it was good fun. I mean, there was some there was one sort of the thing is with the reality shows, it's that you either end up being a failure or you end up being a success. There's no middle, So because it was more or less me and Harvey arguing, well, me and the production staff really, not really Harvey. I think Harvey was just doing his thing, what they told him to do. So it worked out pretty good in the end because, we said we weren't changing and we didn't change. And we went on to bigger things. So I think I proved my point, really.
Yeah. I watched it. It's still on YouTube. I watched it recently.
You can see it there, it's a bit cringy,
Yeah.
The air guitar thing is a bit cringy, but, it's all right because nobody actually did it, so I think it's quite funny.
Fair enough. Yeah. It is a funny documentary. Yeah. And I mean, I know that early on you were playing bass. And what was it like for you to move from bass to being a frontman and finding your voice? I mean, did you miss not having the bass in your hands on stage at the beginning?
Yeah, a little bit. You do miss it, actually. It's a bit like you just have to teach yourself different skills, really. It's a bit like using a mic stand and not using a mic stand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd used a mic stand for a long time, and then I decided not to use a mic stand. So now I use both mic stand and no mic stand. So you just have to learn yourself different skills, really. And I think playing bass guitar on stage, I still play bass guitar. I've got bass guitars in the studio. So I don't play guitar as well, and I also play a bit of keyboard. I can't really drum, though. I don't get the drumming.
Right.
But it's just like bashing things in time. But so I sort of realized that I was able to stand on my own 2 feet, really, and just sing and talk to the audience. That's what I did.
Right.
So I sort of decided to stop, really. I was a more technical bass player anyway. I wasn't really like ding 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 Dallas 1 p.m. type player.
Right.
I like to play a lot of riffs and things, so I probably wouldn't have been the right bass player for Saxon anyway.
Right.
So the original bass player Steve Dawson held down a great beat, where I would tend to be soloing a little bit more.
Right. Well, I'm glad you found your place, but it's a process, right? I guess it was a learning curve to learn your place on stage and, banter with the crowd and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to become a frontman singer, it's a huge step, and not everybody can pull it off. And become well known, not just for singing, but also for being the front of the band. The spokesperson for the band. It can be difficult to do that. But I liked it. It was good fun.
Yeah. And well, tell me about the touring plans. You're going on tour with Judas Priest and Uriah Heep in Europe, and then in the States with Uriah Heep only. What can the fans expect?
Well, they'll expect quite a few new songs off the album, obviously. So by that time, we should have, people should have known the songs by then. So they'll be like old favorites. That's the great thing about touring and releasing albums. People have a new set of songs that they love.
Yeah.
We'll be doing 6, 7 songs maybe off the new album. 5 or 6, something like that. We're going to wait and see what people like. What's their favorite songs off the album before we do any set list. Yeah, but like I say, we'll be doing the classic songs as well. It'll be a mixture, some deep cuts, plenty of songs off the new album, plenty of big hits, and I'm sure Uriah Heep are going to do the same. I don't know.
Right. Fair enough. Well, I'm in Canada. I know there's no dates in Canada so far, but I'll watch out for it. I hope you guys book something here sometime soon.
Well, we finished in Texas, I think, and went straight back into Europe, doing more festivals and more shows with Judas and Uriah Heep. So, after summer, then that's the time we're going to start putting some more shows in. So, we're obviously aware that we have lots of fans in Canada and on the west coast of America as well. So, Vancouver, Los Angeles, all those areas on the west coast, we need to do those as well. So the plan is to do them in the autumn or winter, basically. Okay. But we do have plans to do them. It's just that the promoters really to offer us a nice venue and a decent fee, and we'll be there.
Right. I will nag them until you guys book something here.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, Biff, thank you so much for the interview. All the best with the promotion of Hellfire and Damnation, and I guess I'll see you on the road sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. And glad you like the album, and we'll talk soon, yeah?
Awesome. Thank you, Biff. Cheers.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.